What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to 100% Marks. With the January transfer window racing towards Monday night's deadline, Newcastle United are facing a series of decisions that could shape both the remainder of the season and the longer-term squad rebuild under Eddie Howe. At the centre of it all is, of course, quite a few of our players, Will Osula, and whether the club are prepared to let him go without bringing anyone in, and also the news of today, of course, in Joe Willock. But we'll get on to talk about, of course, Will Osula first, and then, of course, the other news. But talking about Will Osula, Newcastle are currently weighing up options over the future of the 22-year-old forward, Will Osula, with, of course, Marseille and Ipswich leading a growing list of clubs to have made inquiries. Despite Newcastle's well-documented attacking injury problems this season, however, Us has found minutes hard to come by. He was getting some minutes, of course, at the beginning parts of the season, but he's had, 2 starts in all competitions. He's missed almost 2 months with what has been an ankle injury that he's been going through, and now he's back in full training, but unused subs, for the game against Villa and the game against PSG, and provided, that Johan Wissa and Nick Voltemade remain fit, which hopefully, touch wood, they do. Will Osula's pathway into the regular first team football at Newcastle between now and May looks, extremely limited unless he gets cup time. So that has sparked the interest. Most inquiries are, of course, for loans. Some tentative permanent deals are being discussed as well, but Us is under a contract for Newcastle United until summer of 2029. The clubs, of course, of Ipswich, Kieran McKenna is keen to add the firepower as Ipswich push for automatic promotion. Failed attempts to sign, of course, Joel Parra from Leeds have seen Ipswich turn their attentions elsewhere, and Will Osula is now firmly on their radar. So that is an option, where I think we could maybe send him out on loan to Ipswich, get him some minutes under his belt there, get him that experience that he needs. And then, of course, there's the reports of France as well, with Marseille. The French reports suggest a loan with an option to buy. Roberto De Zerbi is keen on another forward after Neil Maupay's loan exit to, of course, Sevilla, and Osula is, of course, viewed as a development profile as well because of what he can do. We've seen what other players can do when they go to the French league, and maybe Us could be another one that could go to the French league on loan, get a couple of minutes under his belt, and then maybe we could get him back. I don't see we're going with the buy option in there because I do think Us does have a lot of talent there, and I've said it many times before on the channel. I would like to see the lad really get on in Newcastle United, and we were seeing that until he got injured, we were seeing what the lad was capable of. So hopefully we get to see that again. I would not like to see the lad move away, to be honest, because he does have a lot of really good talent, but if a good fee does come up, it is pretty hard to ignore, especially if we could then take that money and put it into somebody that can get the job done right now forward, as opposed to, of course, down the line. Looking at Eintracht Frankfurt, a club that was already very close to signing Will Osula the last time he was, of course, mentioned in the transfer window, was it, of course, the summer window, and it looked like he was going to be moving on then, but then the deal never went through. They thought they had it wrapped up on deadline day last summer before the deal collapsed. Late, Frankfurt have been back in touch, but no formal bid as of yet from Eintracht Frankfurt. But we've seen many players go to the Bundesliga for Eintracht Frankfurt, and we've seen them progress really well, but obviously they're not going to want to have it as a loan with no option to buy. They're going to want to have him on a permanent deal, and I don't see at the moment we're doing something like that. So that's my opinion. Let us know your thoughts, of course, down in the comments below. There's an acknowledgement internally that keeping Will Osula without playing him risks stagnating his career, which I've got to agree, but letting him leave with no replacement is also a gamble, given the problems that we're having with injuries this season. So we've got to look at both sides of the coin on this, and I think at the moment, the club is doing the right thing with Willisula. You know, they're waiting to see if the move is right to maybe move him out on loan, get him minutes under the belt. But looking at the defensive scouting positions forward at the minute, you know, in the Serie A, we've got quite a few players on the radar. Despite the lack of movement so far, Newcastle have gone quiet behind the scenes. According to the likes of Craig Hope, the club have been monitoring 4 Serie A defenders as part of our long-term recruitment strategy. Odilion of Atlanta, of course, previously scouted when he was at Bayer Leverkusen. Honest at Atlanta as well, 17-year-old, highly rated centre-back. Another one that's being looked at by Newcastle, Brooke Norton-Cuffy of Genoa, England under-21 international, ex-Arsenal, also attracting interest from Inter as well. And Thiago Gabriel, the 21-year-old from Lecce, ever present in Serie A this season. Another name, of course, is Delian Mathian, 19-year-old from Toulouse, was also considered, but his ongoing knee injury is believed to have halted any move at this point. This all points towards Newcastle prioritising the youth, resale value and sustainability. Even if nothing materialises before the deadline, we are looking at bringing down that age profile of the squad, with quite a few of other players, the likes of Kieran Trippier being linked with moves away this summer on, you know, probably a free transfer, because the club don't look like they want to, you know, give him a new deal. Even though Kieran Trippier does want to, you know, get a new deal with the club, it looks like the club aren't going to go down that path. But never say never. Let's see, you know, what happens in the coming days, and of course at the end of the season as well. But the outgoings, Newcastle will hold our nerve hopefully on. 2 players previously thought to be movable this month now look likely to stay, largely due to timing. Joe Willock, of course, like I say this morning, an offer has come in, according to reports from Ben Jacobs from Fulham, of 20 million. That has been rejected by Newcastle, according to Ben Jacobs. Willock is thought to be open to the move, but Newcastle believe the fee is, of course, acceptable, but time is the issue. It's not the money. There simply isn't enough time left to sell Willock and bring in a replacement, particularly with the injuries already biting at the moment. That said, opinion remains divided. You know, Willock's performance against PSG was excellent, but it's been too rare over the past 18 months. Obviously, he's had his injuries as well, but it was nice to see, you know, Willock showing that potential that he showed when he first came into the club. Cashing in now could make sense, to be honest, but only with a cover lined up, because if we don't do that, then we are going to be risking a problem in that midfield area. And at the moment, where midfield is taking a bit of a hit as well, along with the defence, so we do need to be careful. We don't need to be risking, you know, getting rid of a player and then we need that player, because then that's going to cause some problems down the line forward, of course, and definitely don't need that when we're heading into February, where it's a very heavy fixture schedule. Jamal Lascelles' links to Turkey continue to circulate as well, but fitness issues have complicated matters with the defender, already stretched in Newcastle, of course, once reluctant to let him go mid-season as well. And of course, we've yet to see Jamal Lascelles really play this season. He's been, you know, injured for quite some time, and now that he is fit, he's still not training with the first team neither. He's training on his own. He can't get into full contact training, so that is a little bit of a worry there. So I don't really see, you know, maybe it's Jamal Lascelles moving on at all in this window, and he might move on at the end of the season, who knows, but only time will tell. Moving on to the last piece of course, the transfer news. Angel Gomez, an opportunity, or is it a distraction? One late name to the window to emerge is Angel Gomez. Newcastle have been offered the chance to sign the England international by intermediaries, with Marseille open to letting him leave after a frustrating spell under Roberto De Zerbi. The key point here is that he joined Marseille on a free from Lille. Just 8 minutes, however, across the last 5 league games, left out of the recent squads as well, and wants to return to England to push for Thomas Tuchel's 2026 World Cup plans. Wolves are currently leading the talks on Angel Gomez, so he may end up there, but Newcastle, along with Everton, Brighton, Fulham and the Mackhams, are aware of his availability. At 25, he's still pretty young as well, fits the technical age profiled recruitment model, but questions remain over, you know, the physicality, the role fit, and whether, you know, Newcastle want another midfielder without shifting one on first. So maybe, you know, if we could get Angel Gomez in, then we could maybe move Joe Willock on, but, you know, only time will tell on that. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. With Eddie Howe all but confirming no incomings this month, however, Newcastle are walking a fine line at the minute. Letting players go makes sense long term. Holding firm protects a thin squad short term, but the club appears focused on youth, summer flexibility, infrastructure growth, which we've heard about the training ground talk of the 200 million training ground up next to Woolsington Hall, which used to be Sir John Hall's old ground, of course, and then the long-term squad evolution as well. But with injuries mounting and margins tight at the minute, the risk is obvious, so we've got to be careful. Would you take Usul out on loan? Would you take 20 million for Joe Willock or hold firm on it? And let us know, you know, should Newcastle make one late move, or do we trust, you know, in Eddie, Ross Wilson and the other lads, just continue to go on with the plan that we're doing at the moment? Because I think it is rather risky to be letting players leave, the likes of Willock, Usul, especially with the injury problems we're having at the moment. But then, you know, we need to be careful on who we're bringing in as well, because we don't want to waste money on players that aren't going to improve the squad. And at the moment we've spent, you know, quite a bit of money on Anthony Elanga. He hasn't really hit the ground running yet, and that's not his fault, but he hasn't really hit the ground running yet. And then Johan Wissa, of course, has had his problems with the injury problem that he had when he joined, and he's not quite hit the ground running yet neither. He's scored a few goals forward, but he isn't quite hitting them numbers that we were seeing obviously when he was scoring for Brentford. But, you know, I think in time they will, you know, once they get that Newcastle fitness up, then they will, you know, be doing a lot better than what they're doing right now. But at this moment in time, you know, they're kind of struggling a bit in my opinion. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, remember, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and however lads.